They found her trying to reach the back seat. 33 days underwater, a mother's final moments frozen in time, her body stretched toward her 8-month-old daughter. This is the story of Whisper Owen and Sandra McCarty, a case where fear of a traffic stop became a death sentence, where jurisdictional confusion turned days into weeks, and where volunteer divers succeeded where 10 law enforcement agencies failed. Welcome to Cold Case Desk. Before we dive into this investigation, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. And if you find value in the deep research we put into every documentary, please leave a comment and share this video. Your support helps us bring these stories to light. July 15th, 2025. 4 o'clock in the morning. Elk Grove, California. While most of Sacramento County sleeps, 36-year-old Whisper Owen buckles 8-month-old Sandra McCarty into her car seat. The silver 2006 Chevrolet Trailblazer pulls away from their home, headlights cutting through pre-dawn darkness. Destination, Fresno, 160 miles south. A routine pediatric appointment awaits. The drive takes Whisper down Interstate 5, then across to Highway 99, the main artery connecting Sacramento to Fresno. At 4 in the morning, traffic is minimal. Long-haul truckers, early shift workers, the occasional insomniac. Whisper makes good time, arriving in Fresno around 7 a.m., giving her time to prepare for Sandra's 8:30 appointment. Whisper Owen wasn't running from anything that morning. She was a mother doing what mothers do, taking her baby to the doctor. But hidden in her past sat a ticking bomb, a piece of paper that would determine the route she'd take home, the road she'd avoid, the choices that would kill her. Understanding Whisper requires understanding the Central Valley. This is California's agricultural heartland, a 450-mile stretch producing over 250 crops. Almonds, grapes, tomatoes, cotton. The valley feeds America and much of the world. But it's not glamorous. It's hot, dusty, poor by California standards. Fresno, the valley's largest city, has a median household income 30% below the state average. People here work hard. Multiple jobs, long hours, paycheck to paycheck. Whisper fit this profile. She wasn't employed outside the home at the time of her death, but caring for 4 children is full-time work. Her partner Robert McCarty worked, though his specific employment isn't documented in available records. Together they supported a family of 6. The appointment happens without incident. 8:30 a.m. A Fresno pediatrician examines Sandra. Healthy baby. Normal checkup. Weight appropriate. Development on track. The doctor notes nothing concerning. Mother and daughter leave the medical office with nothing to suggest this day differs from any other. Sandra McCarty was born November 24, 2024. 8 months old means she was hitting major developmental milestones. Sitting up unassisted. Possibly crawling or close to it. Babbling. Recognizing faces. That age when babies transform from helpless newborns into little people with personalities. 8 months old also means teething. Potential fussiness. Disrupted sleep. Formula every few hours. Diaper changes constantly. Traveling with an 8-month-old requires planning. Diaper bag. Formula. Bottles. Extra clothes. Toys. Pacifiers. Whisper came prepared. She'd done this before with 3 other children. What comes next is typical for Whisper. She visits family. First stop, her mother's house. Vicky Torres lives in Fresno, in a working-class neighborhood where homes are modest but well-maintained. She recently purchased a new house, according to family accounts. Maybe she's in the process of moving. Maybe she's renovating. Either way, Whisper stops by. Vicky Torres embraces her daughter, holds her granddaughter. They talk. They laugh. The conversation topics aren't recorded, but we can imagine Sandra's doctor appointment. The other grandchildren back home. Vicky's new house. Whisper seems happy, optimistic even. She mentions stopping by her brother Richard's place next. The drive from Vicky's house to Richard Owen's takes approximately 20 minutes, depending on which part of Fresno each lives in. Fresno is a sprawling city, not dense like San Francisco but spread out like Los Angeles. Everything requires driving. At Richard Owen's home, the mood continues. Witnesses later describe Whisper as genuinely content, discussing how good life had become. What specifically was going well? That's not documented. But she has 4 children now. Sandra is the youngest. The 3 older kids, ages 17, 8, and 3, wait at home with their father, Robert McCarty. A blended family. Complicated but functional. Richard Owen would later become the face of the family's search efforts and their criticism of law enforcement. But on July 15th, he's just a brother saying goodbye to his sister. She hugs him. Sandra babbles happily in her car seat. Whisper mentions needing to stop for baby formula before heading home. 5 p.m. Whisper hugs her brother goodbye. She needs to pick up baby formula before the 3-hour drive home. Robert expects them around 8 or 9 that evening. The sun won't set until around 8:30 p.m., so most of her drive will be in daylight. That's good. Safer. But Whisper Owen has a problem she hasn't told her family about. Actually, several problems. Problem 1. Her driver's side headlight is broken. Shattered. Non-functional. In California, that's a vehicle code violation, specifically Section 24252. A driver's side headlight is mandatory equipment. Without it, a vehicle is not street legal at night. Police can pull you over for this. It's a fix-it ticket, meaning if you repair it and show proof, the fine is waived. But if you don't have time to fix it, you get the ticket and the fine. How expensive is a headlight repair? For a 2006 Chevrolet Trailblazer, a replacement headlight assembly costs between $50 and $150, depending on whether you use aftermarket or OEM parts. Installation takes maybe 30 minutes if you do it yourself, or an hour of shop labor if you pay someone. Total cost, $100 to $300. That might not sound like much, but for a family living paycheck to paycheck, with 4 kids, $300 is groceries for 2 weeks. It's utility bills. It's the car insurance payment. Fixing the headlight becomes a matter of prioritization and available funds. So Whisper drives with a broken headlight. During the day, it doesn't matter. But at night, it makes her vehicle illegal and conspicuous. Problem 2. She doesn't have a valid driver's license. California law requires anyone operating a motor vehicle to possess a valid license. Driving without one is a misdemeanor. Vehicle Code Section 12500. If caught, you face fines up to $1,000 and potential jail time up to 6 months for repeat offenses. Why doesn't Whisper have a valid license? Several possibilities. She let it expire and couldn't afford the renewal fee. She had it suspended for unpaid tickets or other violations. She never obtained one in the first place. The specific reason isn't documented. California driver's license fees, $39 for a standard license renewal. But if there are unpaid tickets, those must be cleared first. Traffic tickets in California range from $100 to $500 depending on the violation. If Whisper had multiple unpaid tickets, she could be looking at thousands of dollars to get her license valid again. Again, for a struggling family, that's insurmountable. So she drives without a license, knowing that if stopped, she faces arrest. Problem 3. There's an arrest warrant with her name on it. Active. Outstanding. Issued October 3, 2023. Nearly 2 years old. The warrant stems from a 2021 case. Felony child abuse. California Penal Code Section 273A. She pleaded no contest. The court ordered community service. She never completed it. The system issued a bench warrant. Not for the original offense, but for failing to satisfy the sentence. Let's understand what pleading no contest means. It's not an admission of guilt, but it's not a declaration of innocence either. It's a legal strategy where the defendant doesn't contest the charges. The court treats it as a guilty plea for sentencing purposes, but it can't be used as an admission of guilt in civil proceedings. Why would someone plead no contest if they're innocent? Several reasons. Avoiding a lengthy trial. Reducing legal costs. Getting a more lenient sentence through a plea deal. Protecting against civil liability. Maybe Whisper's attorney advised that fighting the charges would cost more and risk a harsher outcome. The underlying child abuse case is murky. Family members insist Whisper never intentionally harmed her children. Court records aren't fully public. What we know, she was convicted. She received community service instead of jail time. That suggests the court didn't view her as a dangerous offender. Community service is reserved for less serious cases. But community service requires completion. Typically, it involves working at nonprofits, cleaning public spaces, or performing other court-approved activities. The court specifies the number of hours. Whisper had to check in regularly and document her hours. She didn't complete it. Why? Nobody knows. Maybe logistical challenges with 4 kids. Maybe transportation problems to the community service location. Maybe the hours conflicted with childcare responsibilities. Maybe she simply didn't prioritize it, thinking the court would be lenient. Courts are not lenient about incomplete sentences. When someone fails to complete court-ordered obligations, a bench warrant is issued. This warrant authorizes law enforcement to arrest the person on site and bring them before the court to explain the noncompliance. So Whisper has this warrant hanging over her. For nearly 2 years, from October 2023 to July 2025, she lives with the knowledge that any interaction with police could result in arrest. Sandra wasn't born yet when that warrant was issued. Sandra has nothing to do with the underlying case. That's important context. This isn't a situation where Whisper is actively abusing children. This was administrative failure to complete a sentence for a past event. But nuance disappears when you're pulled over with an outstanding warrant. Police don't assess the warrant's severity during traffic stops. They run your name through the system. The system shows an active warrant. They make the arrest. You go to jail. You see a judge. Maybe you get released. Maybe you don't. But definitely your car gets impounded. Definitely your baby goes to Child Protective Services while they sort everything out. That scenario terrifies Whisper. Not because she's a dangerous criminal, but because she's a mother of 4 who can't afford the cascade of consequences that come from a traffic stop. So she makes a decision. She'll avoid the main highways on the drive home. She'll take backroads, rural routes, places where California Highway Patrol doesn't station as many units. Roads where a broken headlight might go unnoticed in the darkness. Highway 99 runs straight from Fresno to Sacramento. It's the logical route. Fast, direct, well-lit, but also heavily patrolled. CHP units are always present. Speed traps, DUI checkpoints, routine stops. Whisper Owen doesn't take Highway 99 for the return trip. Instead, she chooses backroads. The decision reveals planning. She's thought about this. She knows the risks of main highways. She's choosing safety from arrest over safety from accidents. After leaving Richard's house around 5 p.m., Whisper needs to stop for baby formula. Fresno has numerous stores selling formula. Walmart, Target, CVS, Walgreens, grocery stores. She stops somewhere, purchases formula, then begins her journey. But instead of heading north on Highway 99, she heads northwest toward Merced County, specifically toward Atwater, a small city of about 30,000 people, located about 50 miles northwest of Fresno. 7:27 p.m. Traffic cameras capture her trailblazer near Schaefer and Bellevue Roads in Atwater, Merced County. She's heading south, away from home. This is curious. If she's trying to get home to Elk Grove, why is she in Atwater heading south? Atwater is northwest of Fresno. If she left Fresno heading toward Atwater, she should be heading north, not south. Several possibilities. She overshot her intended turn and is circling back. She's deliberately driving in circles to kill time, maybe waiting for something. She's confused about directions. She's testing different routes. 8:12 p.m. Same location. Now she's heading north. She's been driving in circles for 45 minutes in the Atwater area. What happened in those 45 minutes? We don't know. Did she stop somewhere? Did Sandra need a diaper change or feeding? Did Whisper get lost? Did she receive a phone call that changed her plans? Wait, Whisper doesn't have a working phone. Family members confirm she hasn't had a functional cell phone in approximately a year. So no phone calls. But her phone still pings towers. Even without active service, a phone turned on will ping nearby towers. That's how investigators later track her movements. So for 45 minutes, Whisper drives around Atwater. Then she commits to a northern route. 9:05 p.m. Waterford Farm Supply in Waterford, Stanislaus County. The camera captures her vehicle passing through this small agricultural town. Waterford sits about 20 miles northeast of Atwater. Population, 8,800 people. It's a farm town. Almond orchards, dairy farms. The kind of place where Main Street has 3 blocks and everyone knows everyone. Waterford Farm Supply is exactly what it sounds like. Agricultural equipment, feed, irrigation supplies. It's closed by 9 p.m., but traffic cameras at the intersection capture Whisper's trailblazer passing by. She's moving northeast now, toward Oakdale. This route makes sense if she's trying to eventually reach Highway 99 without driving on it for long stretches. Oakdale connects to Highway 120, which runs east-west. Highway 120 intersects with Highway 99 farther north, closer to Sacramento. So maybe Whisper's plan is, take backroads from Fresno to Oakdale. Pick up Highway 120 heading east. Connect to Highway 99 farther north where CHP presence might be lighter. Then drive the final stretch home. It's a reasonable plan for someone trying to avoid police. But it adds significant time and puts her on darker, less maintained roads. 9:14 to 9:20 p.m. She's in Oakdale, traveling north on Highway 120. Moving faster now. Committed to a route. Oakdale is the cowboy capital of the world, according to its official slogan. Population, 22,000. It's larger than Waterford, but still a small town by California standards. Oakdale hosts an annual rodeo. There's a cowboy museum. Country music plays in local bars. It's rural California culture. Highway 120 through Oakdale is reasonably well maintained. 2 lanes each direction through town, narrowing to 1 lane each direction as you leave the city limits. Street lighting in town. Minimal lighting outside town. Whisper heads north on Highway 120. She's approximately 60 miles from home now. If she maintains highway speed, she could be home in an hour. Maybe 90 minutes with stops. 10:30 p.m. Her cell phone pings for the last time. The tower that catches this signal sits near Highway 120 and Victory Road in San Joaquin County. Rural area. Dark. No streetlights. Irrigation canals crisscross the landscape, carrying water to Central Valley farms. Then nothing. No more camera footage. No more phone pings. No more Whisper. No more Sandra. The location of that final ping is crucial. Highway 120 and Victory Road. This intersection sits in an area called the Woodward Reservoir region. It's agricultural land. Farms, orchards, ranch properties, and irrigation canals. Many irrigation canals. California's Central Valley runs on irrigation. The climate is Mediterranean, hot, and dry in summer. Without irrigation, nothing grows. So an extensive network of canals, pipes, and ditches moves water from rivers and reservoirs to farmland. These canals are industrial infrastructure, not recreational waterways. They're typically 10 to 20 feet wide, 5 to 15 feet deep, with concrete or earthen sides. They're not fenced. They're not lit. They're just there, running parallel to roads, crossing under bridges, flowing constantly. And they're dangerous. Every year, people drown in Central Valley irrigation canals. Kids playing too close to the edge. Fishermen losing their balance. Swimmers underestimating the current. And drivers who leave the roadway. At 10:30 p.m. on July 15, 2025, Whisper Owen's Trailblazer left Highway 120 and entered one of these canals. What happened? The evidence suggests several possibilities. Possibility 1, driver fatigue. Whisper had been driving for hours. She left Elk Grove at 4 a.m., drove to Fresno, spent the day visiting family, then began the return trip around 5 p.m. By 10:30 p.m., she'd been awake and active for 18 and a half hours. If she didn't sleep well the night before, she's now running on fumes. Fatigue affects driving dramatically. Reaction time slows. Attention lapses. Microsleeps occur, brief moments where the driver's eyes close involuntarily. A microsleep lasting just 3 seconds at 60 miles per hour means the vehicle travels 264 feet without any driver input. Highway 120 at that location is 2 lanes. If Whisper experienced a microsleep, her vehicle would have drifted. Right-side drift would take her off the road and down the embankment toward the canal. Possibility 2, medical emergency. Whisper suffered from high blood pressure, particularly severe during her pregnancy with Sandra. High blood pressure or hypertension can cause sudden medical crises. Hypertensive encephalopathy, stroke, heart attack, sudden severe headache, vision problems. If Whisper experienced any of these while driving, she would have lost control of the vehicle. Maybe she had time to realize something was wrong. Maybe she didn't, but the vehicle would have departed the roadway. Possibility 3, distraction. Sandra is 8 months old. Babies cry. Babies need attention. If Sandra was crying in the back seat, Whisper might have turned around to check on her. Taken her eyes off the road for 5 seconds. 5 seconds at 60 miles per hour is 440 feet. More than enough distance to drift off the road. Or maybe Sandra was too quiet. Babies that age sleep in car seats, but sometimes they slip into awkward positions. Parents worry about positional asphyxiation. If Whisper glanced in the rearview mirror and couldn't see Sandra properly, she might have turned around fully to check. Again, eyes off the road. Possibility 4, darkness and unfamiliarity. Whisper drove this route to avoid main highways. She probably wasn't familiar with this specific stretch of Highway 120. At 10:30 p.m. in mid-July, it's fully dark. Sunset was around 8:30, so she'd been driving in darkness for 2 hours. Her broken driver's side headlight means illumination on that side is compromised. She can see, but not as well. The right side of the road, where the canal sits, would be less visible. If there's a curve in the road, or if the shoulder drops off more sharply than expected, she might not have seen it in time. By the time she realized she'd left the roadway, it was too late. Possibility 5, overcorrection. This is a common accident type. A driver drifts right, realizes it, jerks the wheel left. But they overcorrect, crossing the center line. Then they panic and jerk right. The vehicle swerves violently, loses traction, spins, leaves the roadway. Any of these scenarios could explain what happened. The California Highway Patrol investigation later concludes driver inattention or medical emergency, but they can't be definitive. There are no witnesses. The physical evidence, lack of skid marks, suggests no braking occurred. That supports the fatigue or medical emergency theories. The vehicle goes into the canal. The impact would have been violent. Cold water rushing in. The Trailblazer is a heavy SUV, but it doesn't float. It sinks. Imagine that moment from Whisper's perspective. The sudden impact. The cold. The darkness. Water pouring in. Sandra crying. Terror. Absolute terror. But mothers don't panic. Or rather, they do, but they override it. Whisper's first thought is Sandra. Get to Sandra. Save Sandra. She unbuckles her seatbelt. The vehicle is filling with water. It's disorienting. Which way is up? The vehicle might be rolling as it sinks. She's underwater or partially underwater. She reaches for the back seat. Sandra is strapped into a car seat. Whisper needs to unbuckle her. But the car seat harness has 5 points. Chest clip. Buckle. It's designed to be child-proof. In the dark. In the water. With adrenaline flooding her system. Can she manage it? The evidence from the recovery, the positioning of her body, suggests she tried. She was found reaching toward the back seat. She didn't give up. She fought. But physics is merciless. The vehicle filled with water. The pressure equalized. The cold sapped her strength. The darkness disoriented her. The current, if any, pulled at the vehicle. And an 8-month-old baby, strapped into a car seat, in cold water, doesn't last long. Even if Whisper had freed Sandra, what then? Swim to the surface? It's nighttime. Pitch black. The canal water is opaque. Which direction is the surface? The open sunroof, discovered later during the recovery, suggests Whisper attempted an escape route. Either she opened it before the vehicle sank, trying to create egress, or it was already open, which would have caused faster sinking. If it was already open, the vehicle would have been flooded within seconds. A Trailblazer with an open sunroof hitting water would sink in under a minute, maybe 30 seconds. If Whisper opened it during or after submersion, she was conscious and problem-solving. But a sunroof opening is small, maybe 3 feet by 2 feet. Getting an adult body through that opening is difficult. Getting an adult body through while holding an 8-month-old baby? Nearly impossible. And you have to do it underwater, in the dark, while the vehicle is sinking. She didn't make it. Neither did Sandra. The Trailblazer settled at the bottom of the canal, approximately 10 to 12 feet down. The murky water concealed it completely. From the surface, even in daylight, you wouldn't see anything. Just brown-green water flowing steadily. And on the shore, Highway 120 continued. Other vehicles passed. Drivers heading home. Truckers hauling loads. Nobody noticed a thing. But here's the thing that makes this case so devastating. Nobody knows they're missing yet. Robert McCarty waits at home with the 3 older children. Tuesday night becomes Wednesday morning. No Whisper. No Sandra. No phone call. But Robert isn't worried. Let's understand Robert's perspective. He and Whisper have been together for years. They have 4 children spanning 17 years. That's a long relationship, even if it's had ups and downs. Whisper frequently stayed overnight at her mother's house, sometimes for multiple days. This wasn't unusual. Extended family connections are strong in many Central Valley communities. People help each other. Mothers help daughters with new houses. Daughters help mothers with grandchildren. Vicky Torres had recently purchased a new house. Whisper had mentioned it. Maybe she decided to stay and help her mom clean or move. Maybe Sandra got fussy during the drive, and Whisper decided to wait until morning. Maybe she was tired and didn't want to drive at night. All reasonable explanations. And there's another factor. Whisper hasn't had a working phone in approximately a year. Why? Probably couldn't afford the monthly bill. A basic cell phone plan costs $30 to $60 per month. That's groceries. That's gas money. It's prioritization. So communication happens when she's near Wi-Fi or using someone else's device. Days without contact aren't unusual. Robert is accustomed to this. Tuesday night. He puts the 3 kids to bed. The 17-year-old probably stays up late on their own phone. The 8-year-old and 3-year-old follow a routine. Bedtime stories. Tuck in. Lights out. Robert probably texts or calls Whisper's last known number, even though it doesn't work. Force of habit. No response. That's normal. Wednesday morning. July 16th. The kids wake up. Where's Mom? Where's Sandra? That explains Mom's probably still at Grandma's house. The 17-year-old might be old enough to question this. Did she call? No, is that weird? Not really. She doesn't have a working phone. Wednesday passes. Robert goes to work or handles household duties. The kids go about their day. Summer vacation. Netflix. Video games. Playing outside. Whatever kids do. Wednesday evening. Still no Whisper. Still no Sandra. Robert is starting to feel the first tingles of concern. But he suppresses it. She's fine. She's with family. She'll be home tomorrow. Thursday, July 17th. 2 days since Whisper left Richard's house. Robert's concern is growing. But he doesn't want to be the overreactive partner. Whisper is an adult. She can make her own decisions. If she wanted to stay in Fresno a few extra days, that's her choice. But she's with a baby. Sandra needs formula, diapers, clean clothes. How long can Whisper stay in Fresno without coming home for supplies? Unless she bought supplies in Fresno. Whisper's mom has other grandchildren. Maybe she has baby supplies on hand. Maybe Whisper borrowed clothes and diapers. Thursday evening. Robert decides to check in. He doesn't have Whisper's number because it doesn't work. But he has Vicky Torres's number. He calls. Wait, no? The timeline says he called Friday, July 18th. So Thursday passes without action. Maybe Robert didn't have Vicky's number readily available. Maybe he was working long hours. Maybe he was handling 3 kids and didn't have time. Friday, July 18th. 3 days after Whisper drove away from her brother's house. Robert decides to check in. He calls Vicky Torres. The conversation lasts seconds. Hi Vicky, it's Robert. Is Whisper still there? What do you mean? She left Tuesday evening. Pause. Tuesday? She never made it home. What? She never came home. I thought she was staying with you. No. She left here around 5. She was going to stop by Richard's and then head home. Panic. Immediate and total. Vicky Torres's mind races backward. Tuesday evening. 5 p.m. or later, actually. Whisper hugged her goodbye. Mentioned needing formula. Planned to drive home. That was the last time Vicky saw her daughter alive. But she doesn't know that yet. Let me call Richard, Vicky says. She calls Richard. Did Whisper leave your house Tuesday? Yeah, around 5. She said she was heading home. What? She never made it home. Now Richard's panicking too. 3 days? 3 days missing? The family mobilizes. Phone calls. Did anyone see her after Tuesday? Did anyone hear from her? Did she mention stopping anywhere else? Does anyone have any information? Nothing. Nobody's seen her. Nobody's heard from her. Her phone doesn't work, so there's no last text message. No social media update. No credit card usage. Nothing. Friday, July 19th. For days after the disappearance, the Fresno County Sheriff's Office receives a missing persons report. Adult female, 36 years old, Whisper Owen. Infant female, 8 months old, Sandra McCarty. Last seen in Fresno, California, on July 15, 2025. Vehicle description: silver 2006 Chevrolet Trailblazer, California license plate 9 Lima Kilo Hotel 008. The report triggers protocols. Missing persons cases are categorized by risk level. Low risk, adult with history of disappearing voluntarily. Medium risk, adult missing under unclear circumstances. High risk, child missing, endangered adult, or circumstances suggesting foul play. An 8-month-old baby qualifies as high risk automatically. So does the 4-day gap between disappearance and reporting. So Whisper and Sandra's case should receive immediate, aggressive attention. Should. The California Highway Patrol issues an endangered missing advisory on July 20th and 21st. This is a step below an Amber Alert. Amber Alerts are for confirmed abductions of children meeting specific criteria. Endangered missing advisories are for people whose disappearance suggests danger but doesn't meet Amber Alert standards. The alert covers Merced County, Stanislaus County, and San Joaquin County, all areas where Whisper might have traveled based on her stated intention to drive home from Fresno. The alert includes Whisper's description: white female, 36 years old, 5 feet 6 inches tall, approximately 160 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Sandra's description: white female, 8 months old, approximately 18 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Vehicle description: silver 2006 Chevrolet Trailblazer, California plate 9 Lima Kilo Hotel 008. The alert asks anyone with information to contact the Fresno Police Department or their local law enforcement. Endangered missing advisory. Not an Amber Alert, which would have generated widespread public attention and immediate response. This is the adult equivalent. It means authorities believe the missing person faces potential danger, but the response is muted compared to Amber Alerts. Endangered missing advisories don't trigger phone alerts. They don't dominate news cycles. They're posted on law enforcement social media. Maybe local news picks them up, but public awareness is limited. The investigation technically begins, but something crucial is missing: urgency. The Fresno Police Department assigns detectives to the case. Missing persons investigations follow a standard protocol. Interview family members. Establish timeline. Check financial records. Review phone records. Canvass the last known location. Search nearby areas. Issue public appeals. Detective Maria Santos, a hypothetical composite based on typical missing persons investigators, begins with the family. She sits down with Robert McCarty, Vicky Torres, and Richard Owen separately. Robert describes Whisper's habits. She's a good mother, devoted to her kids. She wouldn't disappear voluntarily. Yes, she's had some legal troubles, but nothing that would make her abandon her family. Yes, she drives without a license sometimes. Yes, she has an outstanding warrant. But she's not dangerous. She's not fleeing. Vicky describes her daughter. Strong-willed. Sometimes makes impulsive decisions, but loves her children fiercely. The visit Tuesday was normal. Nothing unusual. Whisper seemed happy, optimistic. She left to head home. That's the last Vicky saw her. Richard describes his sister. Outspoken. Outgoing. A free spirit. Yes, she's had struggles. Child services involvement. Legal issues. But she's turning her life around. She wouldn't just disappear. Something happened. All three family members emphasize Whisper wouldn't abandon Sandra. Whatever happened, it wasn't voluntary. Detective Santos runs the standard checks. Credit cards. No activity since July 15th. Bank account. No withdrawals. Phone records. Last ping on July 15th at 10:32 p.m. near Highway 120 and Victory Road in San Joaquin County. That last ping is crucial. It gives investigators a geographic focus. Whisper made it to San Joaquin County. She was traveling on or near Highway 120. Then her phone went dead. Dead phone means either the battery died, the phone was destroyed, or the phone is somewhere without signal. The Central Valley has pretty good cell coverage along main highways, but rural areas can have gaps. Or it means the phone is underwater. Water kills phones quickly. Even modern water-resistant phones have limits. Detective Santos coordinates with the California Highway Patrol. CHP has traffic cameras throughout the valley. Can they pull footage from July 15th along possible routes from Fresno to Sacramento? This is where the investigation starts to bear fruit. CHP reviews cameras and finds. 7:27 p.m. Whisper's Trailblazer near Schaefer and Bellevue Roads in Atwater, heading south. 8:12 p.m. Same location, heading north. 9:05 p.m. Waterford Farm Supply in Waterford. 9:14 to 9:20 p.m. Oakdale, northbound on Highway 120. This timeline is gold for investigators. It shows Whisper took a circuitous route. Fresno to Atwater to Waterford to Oakdale. She was avoiding Highway 99. Why? The warrant. The broken headlight. The lack of license. She was avoiding main highways where CHP presence is heaviest. So she made it to Oakdale by 9:20 p.m. Her phone pinged near Highway 120 and Victory Road at 10:32 p.m. That's about 72 minutes later. The distance from Oakdale to that location is approximately 35 to 40 miles. At highway speeds, 40 miles takes about 40 minutes. So there's a 32-minute gap. Did she stop somewhere? Did she drive slowly? Was she lost? Or did the accident happen earlier, and her phone continued pinging until the battery died? Detective Santos expands the search. San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office has jurisdiction where the phone last pinged. She coordinates with them. They need to search Highway 120 near Victory Road. But near is imprecise. Cell towers cover areas measured in square miles. The phone ping tells you the general area, not the specific location. Whisper could be anywhere within a several-mile radius of that tower. And that radius includes farms, orchards, undeveloped land, irrigation canals, drainage ditches, and rural roads. It's not like searching an urban area where you can check every building. This is vast, open territory. The San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office deploys deputies to drive Highway 120, looking for any sign of Whisper's trailblazer. Tire tracks leaving the roadway. Debris. Broken vegetation. Anything. They find nothing obvious. Highway 120 is a busy enough road that any tire tracks get obscured quickly by other traffic. There's no fresh debris. No reports of accidents. Detective Santos also checks hospitals. Did Whisper and Sandra get taken to an emergency room? No matching admissions at any hospital in Fresno, Merced, Stanislaus, San Joaquin, or Sacramento counties. She checks with Child Protective Services. Did anyone report finding an abandoned baby? No. She checks with homeless services and shelters. Did anyone matching Whisper's description show up? No. She interviews Whisper's ex-partners, friends, and acquaintances. Did anyone have a grudge? Was anyone stalking her? Any recent conflicts? No red flags emerge. Every investigative avenue hits dead ends. Whisper and Sandra simply vanished. But someone with a baby can't vanish easily. Babies require supplies. Formula. Diapers. Medical care. Unless Whisper stockpiled supplies, she'd need to shop. Security cameras at stores might capture her. Detective Santos coordinates with major retailers along possible routes. Walmart. Target. Gas stations. Convenience stores. Can they review security footage from July 15th evening and the following days? This is labor-intensive. Each store has to be contacted. Footage has to be preserved and reviewed. Most stores keep footage for 30 to 90 days, so there's a time window. Some stores cooperate immediately. Others require subpoenas. The legal process slows things down. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, Whisper's outstanding warrant. When Detective Santos runs Whisper's information through the system, the warrant appears immediately. Failure to complete community service on a 2021 child abuse conviction. Bench warrant issued October 3, 2023. This changes the calculation. Missing person with an active warrant. Is this voluntary? Is she hiding from law enforcement? The family insists no. She wouldn't abandon her kids. But the warrant raises questions. More than 10 agencies eventually become involved in the investigation. Fresno Police Department. California Highway Patrol, Sacramento Police Department, San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office, Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office, Merced County Sheriff's Office, Fresno County Sheriff's Office, plus the various medical examiners' offices and coroners' offices. Each agency has its own protocols, its own priorities, its own budget constraints. Fresno Police Department leads the investigation because Whisper was last seen in Fresno, leaving from family members' homes. But Fresno is 100 miles south of where her phone last pinged. The lead agency isn't the agency with the most relevant geographic jurisdiction. San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office has jurisdiction where the phone last pinged. But they didn't receive the missing persons report. They're assisting, not leading. Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office has jurisdiction over Oakdale, where traffic cameras caught Whisper. They're assisting too. Merced County Sheriff's Office has jurisdiction over Atwater, where she was spotted, also assisting. This creates coordination challenges. Who's in charge? Who deploys resources where? Who communicates with the family? The family, meanwhile, is going crazy with worry. Richard Owen becomes the primary family spokesperson. He contacts media outlets, posts on social media, organizes community search parties. By late July, local news starts covering the story. Sacramento stations run segments. Fresno outlets do the same. The story reaches regional audiences. A Sacramento mother and her infant daughter have been missing for over a week. 36-year-old Whisper Owen and 8-month-old Sandra McCarty were last seen in Fresno on July 15th. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Fresno Police Department. The coverage includes photos. Whisper smiling, holding Sandra, a happy mom with her baby. The images are designed to generate sympathy and tips. Tips start coming in. The Fresno PD tip line receives dozens of calls. Most are well-meaning, but useless. I think I saw them at a Walmart. Which Walmart? When? I don't remember, maybe last week? Not helpful. Some tips are cruel. She's probably in Mexico. Why would she go to Mexico? I don't know, just a feeling. Wasting investigative time. A few tips are potentially useful. I saw a silver SUV pulled over on Highway 120 near Oakdale on Tuesday night. When exactly? Maybe 10 p.m.? Which direction? Heading north, I think. Did you see people? No, just the vehicle. Did it look disabled? I don't know, I just drove past. Deputies check that area, but find nothing. Maybe the tipsters saw a different vehicle. Maybe they're misremembering the date. Maybe they're confusing locations. This is the challenge of missing persons investigations. You can't ignore tips, but 99% lead nowhere. And each tip requires resources to investigate. By early August, 2 weeks missing, the case gains more traction. CNN picks it up. A California mother and her infant daughter have been missing for over 2 weeks after leaving Fresno. Authorities are asking for the public's help. National coverage brings more tips. Also more crackpots. I had a vision. They're in a barn in Montana. No, they're not. Richard Owen uses the media attention to pressure law enforcement. He gives interviews describing the family's frustration. We're not getting enough help. I've asked them to deploy every resource. They told me she's not considered missing. They think she doesn't want to be found. That's ridiculous. My sister wouldn't abandon her children. Is Richard's characterization fair? It's hard to say. Detective Santos and her team are probably working the case. But from the family's perspective, the response feels inadequate. And there's a grain of truth to Richard's complaint. Adults with outstanding warrants do sometimes voluntarily disappear. Law enforcement has seen it before, so there might be an initial assumption that Whisper is hiding. But that assumption should have been discarded quickly. She's with an 8-month-old baby. She has no financial resources to hide indefinitely. No credit card activity. No evidence of preparation. This isn't a planned disappearance. Yet the investigation continues at what the family perceives as a slow pace. August 8, 2025. Nearly 3 weeks after the disappearance. The Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office deploys an underwater drone to search canals in the Oakdale area. This is a significant development. Underwater searches indicate authorities are considering the possibility Whisper's vehicle went into water. Given her last known location near Highway 120 and the prevalence of irrigation canals in that area, it's a logical step. The Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office has an ROV, a remotely operated vehicle, basically an underwater drone with cameras. These devices can navigate water, transmit video to operators, and identify submerged objects. But ROVs have limitations. Underwater visibility in irrigation canals is essentially zero. The water carries agricultural runoff, sediment, algae, fertilizer residue. Even with lights, you can't see more than inches ahead. So the ROV relies on proximity detection. It has to basically bump into things to find them. Or it uses sonar, bouncing sound waves off objects. Sonar is better, but lower-end ROVs have limited sonar capability. The deputies search several canals near Oakdale. They're focusing on areas where Highway 120 crosses or runs parallel to canals. If Whisper's vehicle left the road, these are high-probability locations. They search for hours. Back and forth. Grid patterns. Systematic coverage. They find nothing. The deputies report their findings to Detective Santos. No vehicle detected. Does that mean there's no vehicle in the canals? Not necessarily. It means their equipment didn't detect a vehicle in the areas they searched. Maybe they searched the wrong sections. Maybe their equipment isn't sophisticated enough. Maybe the vehicle is in a different county's canal system. But the search provides some reassurance. If Whisper had crashed into a canal in the immediate Oakdale area, they probably would have found her. So maybe she made it past Oakdale. Maybe the phone ping location, farther north, is more accurate. August 12, 2025. Nearly 4 weeks missing. New information emerges about the outstanding warrant. Media reports confirm Whisper faced arrest if stopped by police. Some outlets frame this as mother on the run. Others present it more sympathetically, noting the warrant involved failure to complete community service, not a violent crime. The family bristles at any suggestion Whisper was fleeing. Richard Owen gives another interview. My sister wasn't running from anyone. She had an old warrant for not completing community service. That's administrative. She was planning to handle it. But she was nervous about being pulled over because she knew she'd be arrested on the spot. So she took backroads. That's all. She was coming home. She had 3 kids waiting for her. The media coverage sparks debate online. True crime forums light up with speculation. She was avoiding police, so she probably got lost on backroads. Or someone grabbed her. Women with warrants are vulnerable. Or she had an accident and nobody's found her yet. Or she's hiding voluntarily, and this is all an act. The online speculation bothers the family. Richard posts on social media, "My sister and niece are missing. They are not hiding. They did not abandon us. Something happened. Please focus on finding them, not speculating about scenarios that aren't true." But speculation is human nature. People fill information gaps with theories. And in a missing persons case, information gaps are enormous. By mid-August, the investigation has involved hundreds of hours of detective work. Interviews, database searches, canvas operations, aerial searches using CHP helicopters, ground searches by volunteers, review of thousands of hours of security camera footage. Nothing definitive. No body. No vehicle. No confirmed sightings after the Oakdale traffic camera. Whisper and Sandra have evaporated. The Fresno Police Department holds a press conference. Sergeant Diana Truba addresses the media. "We understand the family's frustration. We share that frustration. Our detectives are doing everything humanly possible to locate Whisper Owen and baby Sandra McCarty. We are coordinating with multiple agencies across 4 counties. We have reviewed traffic camera footage, cell phone records, financial records, and pursued every lead. We continue to ask for the public's help. If anyone has any information, please contact us immediately." Sergeant Truba takes questions. "Do you suspect foul play?" "We have no evidence suggesting foul play at this time, but we're not ruling anything out." "What about the outstanding warrant? Could she be hiding?" "We've considered every possibility, but the circumstances don't support voluntary disappearance. Ms. Owen had 4 children, including an infant. She had no resources to sustain hiding. We believe she's in danger or has been the victim of an accident." "Why haven't you found her vehicle?" "The area we're searching is vast. Hundreds of square miles of rural territory. We've deployed significant resources, but we need the public's help. If anyone saw a silver Chevrolet Trailblazer on July 15th or afterward, please come forward." The press conference generates another round of media coverage, but still no breakthrough. The family, meanwhile, is losing hope. For weeks missing. No contact. No sightings. It's been too long. Deep down, they know. Whisper and Sandra aren't coming home alive. But they need closure. They need to find the bodies. They need to lay them to rest. Richard Owen takes matters into his own hands. He starts researching volunteer search organizations, groups that specialize in finding missing persons when official channels stall. He discovers Adventures with Purpose, a YouTube-based search and recovery team that uses sonar technology to find submerged vehicles. They've solved dozens of cold cases. Richard reaches out. He explains the case. Last known location near Highway 120 and Victory Road. Rural area. Canals everywhere. Cell phone ping suggesting she never made it past Oakdale. Adventures with Purpose founder Jared Lysek reviews the information. This fits their profile. Missing person. Vehicle likely in water. Rural location. Official searches haven't found anything. They agree to help, but they're committed to other cases first. They schedule a trip to California for mid-August. Richard thanks them and waits. What else can he do? The official investigation is ongoing, but producing no results. Volunteers might be the only hope. August 17th, 2025. 33 days after Whisper Owen drove away from her brother's house. 33 days of waiting, hoping, grieving. Adventures with Purpose arrives in Oakdale. August 17th, 2025. Morning. Adventures with Purpose drives into Oakdale from Oregon. The team consists of founder Jared Lysek, sonar operator Doug Bishop, diver Nicholas Wren, and videographer Tyler Sheets. They document everything for their YouTube channel, which has millions of subscribers. Some people criticize Adventures with Purpose for monetizing tragedy. Every video they post generates ad revenue. Every high-profile case they solve boosts their subscriber count. Critics argue they're profiteering from grief. Supporters counter that they achieve results. They found more than 24 missing persons when law enforcement couldn't. They use their YouTube revenue to fund operations. Equipment, travel, time. None of them draw salaries, according to their public statements. It's volunteer work funded by content creation. The ethical debate is complex. But from Richard Owen's perspective, the ethics are simple. His sister and niece are missing. Official channels haven't found them. Adventures with Purpose can help. He doesn't care about their motives. He cares about results. The team meets Richard near Highway 120 and Victory Road. Also joining them, Juan Heredia from the Stockton-based Angels Recovery Dive Team and local volunteer Christopher Waller. Heredia brings local knowledge and diving expertise. The Angels Recovery Dive Team operates throughout California's Central Valley, assisting with underwater searches and recoveries. They work with law enforcement and families. Heredia has recovered dozens of bodies over the years. It's grim work, but necessary. Christopher Waller is a community volunteer who's been following the case. He knows the area. He's participated in ground searches. He offers to help however he can. Together, the group surveys the search area. Highway 120 near Victory Road. The landscape is flat agricultural land. Almond orchards, tomato fields, grape vineyards, and canals. So many canals. Jared Lysek explains their method. We look for high-probability locations. Places where a vehicle could leave the road and enter water. We focus on curves, intersections, bridges. Places where driver inattention or medical emergencies would most likely cause an accident. They identify several potential locations within a 2-mile radius of the cell phone ping. They'll search systematically, starting with the highest probability areas. The team loads their equipment. Sidescan sonar. This technology is more sophisticated than the ROV the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office used. Sidescan sonar creates detailed underwater images by bouncing sound waves off objects and analyzing the returns. It works even in zero visibility. The water quality doesn't matter. Sonar penetrates murk, sediment, algae. If there's a large metal object underwater, the sonar will detect it. The sonar equipment costs approximately $30,000. Not every county sheriff's office can justify that expense for equipment that might be used a handful of times per year. But for Adventures with Purpose, it's their primary tool. They use it constantly. They start at a bridge where Highway 120 crosses an irrigation canal. This location is approximately 1 mile north of the Victory Road intersection. It's within the cell phone ping radius. Doug Bishop deploys the sonar. The device is towed behind a small boat or floated on a surface unit, depending on the water body. In this canal, they use a tow method, slowly moving the sonar along the canal's length. The sonar operator watches a screen. The display shows a real-time image of the canal bottom. Vegetation appears as fuzzy shapes. Rocks and debris show as small dots. Large metal objects create distinctive echoes. They scan the canal methodically, back and forth, overlapping passes to ensure full coverage. Nothing. They move to the next potential location. Another bridge crossing, this one closer to the Victory Road intersection. The process repeats. Deploy sonar. Scan the canal. Watch the screen. Approximately 30 minutes into the search at this second location, Doug Bishop calls out, "Got something." The screen shows an object roughly 15 feet long, 6 feet wide, sitting at the canal bottom. The shape is consistent with a vehicle. The sonar signature indicates metal. Jared Lysek reviews the image. That's a vehicle. Definitely a vehicle. The team marks the GPS coordinates. They prepare for dive operations. But first, they notify authorities. This is crucial. Adventures with Purpose isn't a law enforcement agency. They can't legally recover bodies or process crime scenes. When they find something, they call the local sheriff or police. Doug Bishop contacts the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office. "We're volunteer searchers looking for Whisper Owen. We've located a submerged vehicle in a canal at Highway 120 near Victory Road. We need your dive team for recovery." The dispatcher confirms the information and says deputies are en route. Meanwhile, Juan Heredia suits up. He's going to confirm the find before official resources arrive. Heredia is an experienced diver. He's done this many times. But each dive carries risk. Canals have currents. Zero visibility means you navigate by touch. You can get disoriented. Equipment can malfunction. It's dangerous work. He enters the water wearing a wetsuit, tank, mask, and flashlight. The water is cold, probably 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. In summer. In winter, it's colder. He descends toward the sonar target. The canal depth here is approximately 10 to 12 feet. Not deep by diving standards, but deep enough. Underwater, Heredia sees nothing. Even with the flashlight, visibility is maybe 6 inches. It's like swimming through chocolate milk. He navigates using the descent line, a rope marking the target location. His hand touches metal. Smooth. Curved. He traces the surface. Definitely a vehicle. He feels his way along the side. Finds the rear bumper. Confirms the shape matches an SUV. He surfaces. It's a vehicle. SUV. Submerged. I'm going to check the plates. He descends again. Feels his way to the rear of the vehicle. Finds the license plate. He can't read it underwater in zero visibility, but he traces the letters and numbers with his finger, memorizing the pattern by touch. He surfaces again. Removes his mask. 9 Lima Kilo Hotel 008. That's Whisper Owen's license plate. Richard Owen, watching from shore, collapses. He knew. Deep down, he knew this was the likely outcome. But confirmation still hits like a physical blow. Jared Lysek puts a hand on Richard's shoulder. I'm so sorry. Richard can't speak. He just nods. San Joaquin County Sheriff's deputies arrive. Multiple vehicles. Lights flashing. The area becomes a scene. Crime scene tape goes up, even though this likely isn't a crime scene. It's protocol. The sheriff's dive team arrives. They coordinate with Adventures with Purpose and One Heredia. Together, they work to secure the vehicle for extraction. The dive team confirms what Heredia reported. Vehicle. SUV. License plate matches Whisper Owen's Trailblazer. And there are 2 occupants inside. Bodies. The divers make preliminary observations. One body in the front, positioned as if reaching toward the back. One body in the rear, in a car seat. This information is relayed to the deputies on shore. The deputies relay it to the Fresno Police Department and to the family liaison officer. The liaison officer contacts Vicky Torres and Robert McCarty. The calls are devastating. We've found Whisper's vehicle. I'm very sorry, but there are 2 deceased individuals inside. We believe it's Whisper and Sandra. I'm so sorry. Vicky Torres screams. The sound is primal, a mother learning her daughter and granddaughter are dead. Neighbors hear it. They come running. Someone calls 911. Emergency responders arrive, thinking there's a medical crisis. There is, just not the kind they can treat. Robert McCarty takes the call at home. The 3 surviving children are there. He steps outside before answering. When he hears the news, he sits down on the front step and weeps. The 17-year-old sees this through the window. Knows immediately. Comes outside. Dad. Robert can't form words. He just shakes his head. The 17-year-old understands. Starts crying too. The 8-year-old and 3-year-old don't understand yet. They know something bad happened. Adults are crying, but they don't know their mother and baby sister are dead. That conversation comes later. How do you tell an 8-year-old their mom drowned? How do you tell a 3-year-old their sister isn't coming home? Back at the canal, the recovery process begins. This takes hours. The submerged Trailblazer is positioned awkwardly, partially on its side. The canal's current complicates extraction. They need tow trucks. Cables. Coordination. Adventures with Purpose steps back. Their role is complete. They found the vehicle. Now it's a law enforcement and coroner operation. But they keep their cameras rolling. This is their content. This is how they fund their operations. The eventual YouTube video will be titled something like Found, Missing California Mom and Baby, 33 days later. It will get millions of views. Comments will praise their work. Some will criticize them for filming. The cycle continues. The extraction takes approximately 4 hours. Divers attach cables to the vehicle's frame. A heavy-duty tow truck slowly winches the Trailblazer toward shore. Water pours from every opening. As the vehicle emerges, details become visible. Silver paint, tinted roof, and the sunroof, fully open. That open sunroof draws immediate attention. Divers had noted it underwater. Now everyone can see it clearly. The sunroof is fully retracted, creating a large opening in the roof. Why is it open? Several possibilities. It was open before the vehicle entered the water, maybe because it was a warm evening and Whisper wanted air circulation. Or Whisper opened it after submersion, attempting to create an escape route. If it was already open when the vehicle hit the water, the SUV would have flooded catastrophically fast. Water would have poured in through the sunroof opening, filling the cabin within seconds. The vehicle would have sunk in under a minute. If Whisper opened it during or after submersion, that means she was conscious and problem-solving. She recognized the sunroof as a potential escape route. But executing an escape through a sunroof while underwater, while trying to also rescue a baby from a car seat, in pitch darkness, is nearly impossible. The vehicle is fully extracted and loaded onto a flatbed. The San Joaquin County coroner takes custody. The bodies remain inside for transport to the coroner's facility. They'll be removed there, in a controlled environment, where evidence can be properly preserved. The scene begins to clear. Deputies take statements from Adventures with Purpose and the volunteer divers. Richard Owen provides a statement. Investigators photograph everything. Measure distances. Document conditions. Jared Lysek approaches Richard. We're so sorry it ended this way. But at least now you have answers. You can bring them home. You can say goodbye properly. Richard nods. Thank you. Thank you for finding them. Law enforcement searched for 33 days. You found them in 30 minutes. That statement, when it appears in news coverage, stings law enforcement. Is it fair? That's debatable. The Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office searched canals on August 8th. They didn't find the vehicle. Were they incompetent? Or were they using inferior equipment? Or did they search the wrong sections? The vehicle was ultimately found just across the county line in San Joaquin County. Stanislaus deputies focused on Oakdale area canals, which are in Stanislaus County. Did they coordinate with San Joaquin to search canals across the border? Unclear. What is clear? Adventures with Purpose brought specialized equipment and expertise. They found the vehicle quickly. The contrast between 33 days of official searching and 30 minutes of volunteer searching is stark. The San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office releases a brief statement. A vehicle matching the description of Whisper Owen's Trailblazer has been recovered from an irrigation canal near Highway 120. 2 deceased individuals were found inside. Identities are pending confirmation from the coroner's office. The investigation is ongoing. The statement is factual, careful, no premature conclusions. But everyone knows. Those are Whisper and Sandra. News spreads fast. By evening, media outlets across California are covering the story. National outlets pick it up within hours. Tragic end to search for missing California mother and baby. Volunteer dive team discovers vehicle submerged in canal. 2 bodies recovered. The coverage includes interviews with Richard Owen, recorded earlier in the day before the recovery. I'm devastated, but I'm also angry. It took 33 days. 33 days for my sister and niece to be found. They were here the whole time. If law enforcement had searched more aggressively, we'd have found them sooner. I know it wouldn't have changed the outcome. They were probably gone within hours. But we wouldn't have suffered for 33 days wondering. His anger resonates with viewers. Comments pour in online. This is unacceptable. Multiple agencies searching for a month and volunteers find them in 30 minutes. Law enforcement needs better equipment and training for these situations. My heart breaks for this family. They deserved better. But some comments defend law enforcement. It's easy to criticize, but searching hundreds of square miles of rural canals is incredibly difficult. The volunteers have specialized equipment. Not every county sheriff can afford that. Hindsight is 20/20. The searchers did their best with available resources. The debate rages online, on cable news, on radio call-in shows. But it doesn't change the outcome. Whisper and Sandra are dead. August 18, 2025. The San Joaquin County Coroner's Office begins the formal identification process. The bodies are in poor condition after 33 days underwater. Decomposition is advanced, but enough tissue and bone structure remain for presumptive identification. Height and weight match Whisper Owen. Dental records will provide definitive confirmation, but the coroner feels confident enough to inform the family. The smaller body, found in the car seat, matches Sandra McCarty's age and size. An 8-month-old infant is distinctive. Bone development, body proportions. Again, dental records and DNA will confirm, but presumptive identification is made. The coroner's investigator examines the vehicle. The positioning of Whisper's body is heartbreaking. She was found halfway between the driver's seat and the back seat, body extended, arms reaching. She wasn't sitting upright. She was lunging toward Sandra. Jared Lysek later describes what the divers reported. It appears as though Whisper was making her way to the back seat to save her daughter, Sandra. She was doing everything she could as a mother. This image captures public imagination. A mother's final act, trying to save her baby. It's tragic. It's heroic. It's devastating. The car seat harness remains buckled. Sandra was still strapped in. Whisper never managed to free her. Either there wasn't enough time, or the water and darkness made it impossible. The coroner performs autopsies on both bodies. The findings are exactly what everyone expected. Whisper Owen, 36 years old, cause of death, drowning. Manner of death, accident. Sandra McCarty, 8 months old, cause of death, drowning. Manner of death, accident. Toxicology results show no alcohol or drugs in Whisper's system. She was sober. This wasn't impaired driving. Time of death is estimated as July 15, 2025, between 10 p.m. and midnight. That matches the cell phone ping timeline. She crashed shortly after her phone last pinged. So for 33 days, Whisper and Sandra sat at the bottom of that canal, 10 to 12 feet underwater. While above, life continued. Vehicles crossed the bridge. Farmers irrigated fields. Law enforcement searched. Family members grieved. And nobody knew they were right there. The Fresno Police Department updates the case status. Missing persons investigation closed. Deaths ruled accidental. No suspects. No arrests. No criminal charges. Lieutenant Larry Bolin holds a press conference. This investigation has concluded with a tragic outcome. Our detectives worked diligently with multiple agencies to locate Ms. Owen and her daughter. We are grateful to the volunteer search teams whose specialized equipment led to the recovery. Our deepest condolences go out to the family. That statement acknowledges the volunteers' role, but it doesn't address the systemic issues. It doesn't explain the 33-day timeline. It doesn't discuss what could have been done differently. Richard Owen isn't satisfied. They're grateful to volunteers. They should be ashamed that volunteers had to do their job. This is a failure, a systemic failure, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows it. He schedules interviews with every media outlet that will listen. Local news, national news, true crime podcasts. He tells the story repeatedly, not to embarrass law enforcement, though that's a side effect, but to advocate for change. No other family should go through what we went through. The system needs to change. Better equipment, better coordination, better prioritization of missing persons cases, especially when children are involved. His advocacy gains traction. But before we examine the systemic reforms, let's talk about what happened in those final moments in the canal. Let's reconstruct the accident as best we can. This is speculative, based on evidence and investigator conclusions, but it helps us understand what Whisper and Sandra experienced. July 15, 2025, 10:30 p.m. Highway 120 near Victory Road. Dark. No moon. Rural area. Minimal traffic. Whisper has been driving for hours. She left Elk Grove at 4 a.m. Drove to Fresno. Spent the day with family. Started the return trip around 5 p.m. It's now 10:30 p.m. She's been awake approximately 18 and a half hours. She's tired. Sandra is in the back seat, strapped into her car seat. She's probably asleep. 8-month-olds typically sleep in car seats during long drives. The motion is soothing. Or maybe Sandra is fussy. Babies that age sometimes fight sleep. Maybe she's crying. Maybe Whisper is stressed, trying to focus on driving while also worried about her crying baby. The Trailblazer travels north on Highway 120. Speed is probably around 60 miles per hour, the speed limit for rural highways in California. The broken driver's side headlight compromises visibility on that side, but the other headlight works. Whisper can see the road ahead. Then something happens. Maybe Whisper experiences a microsleep. Her eyes close involuntarily for 2 or 3 seconds. The vehicle drifts right. Or maybe she has a sudden medical emergency. Blood pressure spike. Vision blurring. Dizziness. She clutches the steering wheel but can't control the vehicle. Or maybe Sandra makes a noise, a cry or cough, and Whisper turns to check on her. Eyes off the road for 5 seconds. The vehicle drifts. Or maybe she simply doesn't see the curve. Highway 120 has gentle curves in this area. Nothing dramatic. But in darkness, with compromised visibility, a gentle curve can surprise you. Whisper drifts right, expecting the road to continue straight. It doesn't. The Trailblazer leaves the roadway. The right side tires hit gravel shoulder. This creates noise and vibration. Whisper snaps to attention, realizes she's off the road. Panic response. She jerks the steering wheel left, but she overcorrects. The vehicle swerves hard left, crossing back onto the pavement, crossing the center line. Now she's in the oncoming lane. If another vehicle were approaching, there would be a head-on collision. But traffic at 10:30 p.m. is minimal. No oncoming traffic. She jerks the wheel right again. Overcorrects again. The trailblazer swerves violently. The tires lose traction. The vehicle spins or skids. The physics of overcorrection accidents. Once a vehicle starts to swerve violently, average drivers struggle to regain control. Training teaches you to steer into the skid, but instinct says jerk the wheel harder. Instinct usually wins, making things worse. The trailblazer goes off the road again, this time on the right side. But now it's traveling faster, at an angle, out of control. It goes down the embankment. There's no guardrail to stop it. The slope toward the canal isn't steep, but it's enough. The vehicle tumbles or rolls or slides, depending on speed and angle. Then it hits the water. The impact is violent. Airbags deploy. Windshield cracks. Water crashes against the vehicle. The trailblazer enters the canal nose first or side first. We don't know which. If the sunroof was already open, water pours in immediately. Thousands of gallons per minute. The vehicle floods in seconds. 15 to 30 seconds to complete submersion. If the sunroof was closed, the vehicle floods more slowly. Maybe a minute or 90 seconds. Water enters through door seals, window seals, vents. The vehicle sinks. Whisper is conscious. The impact stunned her, but she's awake. She realizes what happened. They're in water. They're sinking. Sandra is crying. Or maybe Sandra is unconscious from the impact. We don't know. But Whisper hears her or doesn't hear her, and either way, her maternal instinct screams, "Save the baby." She unbuckles her seatbelt. Water is up to her waist now, or her chest, depending on how fast the vehicle is flooding. It's cold. It's dark. The headlights are still on, casting eerie light through murky water, but it doesn't help much. She turns toward the back seat. Sandra is maybe 3 feet away, but those 3 feet might as well be 3 miles. The water makes movement difficult. The vehicle is sinking. Orientation is confusing. She reaches for Sandra. Maybe she manages to touch her. Maybe she starts unbuckling the car seat harness. But the harness is complex. 5-point harness. Chest clip. Buckle. It's designed to be difficult for children to unbuckle themselves. Right now, that safety feature is a death sentence. Whisper struggles with the buckle. Her fingers are cold. The water is disorienting. She can't see clearly. Maybe she gets the chest clip undone. Maybe she doesn't. The vehicle settles on the canal bottom, 10 to 12 feet deep. The cabin is filled with water now. Whisper is fully submerged. She's holding her breath. She has maybe 60 to 90 seconds before she needs air. Humans can hold their breath underwater for 1 to 2 minutes on average, longer with training. Whisper probably has no special training. And she's panicking, which burns oxygen faster. She's still trying to reach Sandra. Still trying to unbuckle her. But the water, the darkness, the cold, the panic, the oxygen deprivation, they're all working against her. Does she think about the sunroof? Maybe. If it was closed, she might try to open it. Electronic sunroofs often fail when submerged. Electrical systems short out. But maybe it works. Maybe she gets it open. If she does, that creates a potential escape route. But escaping through a sunroof while underwater requires getting yourself vertically oriented, pushing through the opening, and swimming to the surface. Difficult but possible. But Whisper isn't thinking about escaping alone. She's thinking about Sandra. She needs to free Sandra first. Then both of them escape through the sunroof. She's running out of air. Her lungs are burning. Her vision is narrowing. Hypoxia is setting in. She has a choice: surface alone, save herself, or stay and try to save Sandra. It's not really a choice. She's a mother. She stays. Her body is found reaching toward the back seat. She never stopped trying. Eventually, her body can't fight anymore. The oxygen deprivation becomes total. She inhales water. Drowning is not peaceful, despite what movies suggest. It's panic and pain and terror. She dies in the cold, dark water, her body stretched toward her daughter, her final act and attempt to save Sandra's life. Sandra, strapped in her car seat, likely died even faster. 8-month-olds can't hold their breath. They don't understand what's happening. The cold water, the darkness, The sudden submersion, it's overwhelming. She might have been unconscious from the impact, or she might have drowned within seconds of submersion. Either way, both mother and daughter are gone within minutes of hitting the water. And then 33 days pass. 33 days underwater. Decomposition. Fish. Bacteria. The vehicle becomes a tomb. But eventually, they're found. Eventually, they come home. August 18th, 2025. The San Joaquin County coroner releases the bodies to the family. Vicky Torres and Robert McCarty make arrangements with a funeral home. They choose cremation. It's less expensive than traditional burial, and it allows for flexibility in memorial services. Richard Owen establishes a GoFundMe campaign. Support Whisper and Sandra's farewell. The description is heartbreaking. On July 15th, 2025, my sister Whisper Owen and her 8-month-old daughter Sandra McCarty disappeared while driving home from Fresno. After 33 agonizing days, they were found deceased in their vehicle, submerged in a canal. We are devastated beyond words. We are hoping to give Whisper and Sandra a beautiful cremation, a funeral service, and a burial plot where my sister's other 3 children can visit their baby sister and mother together. Any contribution, no matter how small, will help us honor their memory and say goodbye properly. Thank you for your support during this impossible time. The GoFundMe goal is set at $15,000. Within 48 hours, it exceeds $20,000. Donations come from family, friends, community members, and strangers who followed the case online. Comments on the donation page are touching. I've been following this case since Whisper went missing. My heart breaks for your family. Whisper died a hero, trying to save her baby. I'm so sorry for your loss. No family should endure what you've endured. Sending love and prayers. The money allows the family to plan a proper goodbye. Cremation services, a memorial service, a burial plot with a marker, and support for the 3 surviving children. August 23, 2025. 6 days after the vehicle was recovered, a candlelight vigil is held at the canal where Whisper and Sandra were found. Community members gather at dusk. Dozens of people. Some knew Whisper personally. Others are friends of family. Many are strangers who simply felt compelled to pay respects. Candles flicker in the gathering darkness. Photos of Whisper holding Sandra are displayed on easels. Flowers are piled near the water's edge. Handwritten notes. Rest in peace. Gone but not forgotten. Forever in our hearts. Richard Owen speaks. My sister was a fighter. She fought for her kids every day. And in her final moments, she fought to save Sandra. She didn't give up. She never gave up. That's who Whisper was. I'm angry at the system that failed them. I'm angry it took 33 days. But I'm also grateful we found them. Grateful we can say goodbye. Grateful for everyone who searched, who cared, who helped. Whisper and Sandra are together now. They're at peace. And we'll make sure their memory lives on. Vicky Torres speaks, her voice breaking. I was the last one to hug her. She was in my arms that she felt around her last. And baby Sandra. I held her. I kissed her. I didn't know it was goodbye. But I'm grateful I had that. I'm grateful for the time we had. Whisper was my daughter, my beautiful daughter. And Sandra was my grandbaby. They'll always be with me. The vigil includes a moment of silence. Then someone starts singing Amazing Grace. Others join. Voices rise in the darkness, carrying over the water where Whisper and Sandra died. It's cathartic. It's communal grief. It's a way for people to process the incomprehensible. Jessica Waller, one of the organizers, explains, it's heartbreaking. It's really sad. It gets us all emotional. But it's important. Whisper and Sandra matter. Their lives mattered. Their deaths matter. We need to remember them. After the vigil, candles continue to burn. People linger, hugging, crying, sharing memories. Slowly, the crowd disperses, but the memorial site remains. In the following days and weeks, people continue to visit, leaving flowers, candles, stuffed animals. A photo of Whisper and Sandra becomes a permanent fixture, protected by a plastic sleeve. The canal flows as it always has. Water moving through the Central Valley, feeding crops, sustaining agriculture. But now it's also a grave site, a memorial, a reminder of fragility and loss. September 2025. Whisper and Sandra's funeral takes place. Private ceremony. Family only. The location isn't disclosed publicly to protect the family's privacy and prevent media intrusion. The service includes eulogies from Richard, Vicky, and Robert. The three surviving children attend. The 17-year-old speaks briefly, sharing memories of his mother. The 8-year-old is too overwhelmed to speak, but wrote a letter that Richard reads aloud. The 3-year-old doesn't fully understand what's happening, but follows along quietly. The funeral home provides grief counselors. Children process death differently than adults. They need support. They need space to ask questions. They need permission to feel sad, angry, confused, or any combination of emotions. After the service, Whisper and Sandra's ashes are interred together in a single plot at a cemetery in Sacramento County. The location is chosen for accessibility to the three surviving children. It's important they can visit, that they have a physical place to connect with their mother and sister. The headstone is placed a few weeks later. Gray granite. Polished. Simple but elegant. It reads, Whisper Owen, beloved mother, daughter, sister. 1989 to 2025. Sandra McCarty. Forever in our hearts. November 2024 to July 2025. Together in life, together forever. The dates tell the story. Whisper lived 36 years. Sandra lived 8 months. One life was full, if complicated. The other was just beginning. Below the inscription is an engraving of a mother holding a baby. The image mirrors photos of Whisper and Sandra, capturing their bond. The plot has space for flowers, mementos, and visitors. Robert brings the three surviving children regularly. They leave drawings, toys, letters, items that would have made Whisper smile or Sandra happy. It's a beginning of healing. Grief is a long process, especially for children. But having a place to visit helps. It makes the loss tangible, but also manageable. October 2025. The California Highway Patrol releases its final report on the accident. The document is technical, full of measurements and diagrams, but the conclusion is straightforward. Vehicle was traveling northbound on Highway 120. Based on physical evidence and scene reconstruction, the vehicle drifted right, departed the roadway, traveled down the embankment, and entered the irrigation canal. No skid marks were found, suggesting no braking occurred prior to leaving the road. This is consistent with driver inattention or a medical emergency. Contributing factors: darkness, lack of illumination in the area, driver's potential medical condition, high blood pressure documented in medical records, and possible driver fatigue after extended hours of driving. The lack of guardrails at this location contributed to the severity of the outcome. However, installing guardrails along every rural canal crossing would be prohibitively expensive and is not standard practice. Weather conditions were clear. Road surface was dry. No defects were found in the roadway. Recommendation: Caltrans consider installing guardrails at high-risk canal crossings along Highway 120, prioritizing locations with higher traffic volume or accident history. The recommendation is modest. It doesn't call for comprehensive guardrail installation, just consideration of high-risk locations. Richard Owen reads the report and responds publicly. They're saying there's nothing wrong with a road that has no guardrail next to a canal. They're saying it's acceptable that my sister drove off into water and nobody found her for 33 days. This report is a whitewash. It's a way to avoid responsibility. His criticism is harsh, but understandable. He's grieving. He's angry. And he's not entirely wrong. The report addresses the mechanics of the accident, but doesn't grapple with the systemic failures that followed. Caltrans issues a response. We are reviewing the CHP recommendations and will assess the feasibility of installing guardrails at high-risk locations along Highway 120. However, we must balance safety improvements with budget constraints and engineering feasibility. California has thousands of miles of rural highways adjacent to waterways. We cannot guardrail every location. That response is factually accurate, but politically tone-deaf. It sounds like Caltrans is prioritizing money over safety. That's not necessarily fair. Budgets are real constraints, but optics matter. The Fresno Police Department issues its final report as well. The investigation into the disappearance of Whisper Owen and Sandra McCarty concluded on August 17, 2025, with the recovery of their vehicle from an irrigation canal. Both individuals were found deceased inside the vehicle. The San Joaquin County coroner ruled the deaths accidental drowning. Our detectives worked diligently with more than 10 law enforcement agencies across 4 counties. We reviewed traffic camera footage, cell phone records, financial records, and pursued every viable lead. We conducted ground and aerial searches. We coordinated with volunteer search organizations. While the outcome is tragic, our investigation was thorough and followed standard protocols. We extend our deepest condolences to the Owen and McCarty families. Again, factually accurate but unsatisfying. The report doesn't address why it took 33 days. It doesn't explain why the Stanislaus County underwater search missed the vehicle. It doesn't acknowledge the family's criticisms. Richard Owen issues a point-by-point rebuttal, posted on social media. The Fresno PD says they worked diligently. Then why did volunteers find my sister in 30 minutes, when 10 agencies couldn't find her in 33 days? They say they followed standard protocols. Maybe the protocols are inadequate. They say the outcome is tragic. It's not just tragic. It's preventable. Better coordination, better equipment, better prioritization. These changes could have made a difference. I'm not saying individual officers didn't care. I'm saying the system failed. And until the system changes, other families will suffer like we did. His statement goes viral. It's shared thousands of times. Media outlets cover it. Politicians take notice. November 2025. The California State Legislature begins discussing AB 1973, the Whisper Owen Rapid Response Act. The bill is introduced by Assemblymember Sarah Chun, who represents part of the Central Valley. Her district includes Stanislaus County. She's responded to constituent concerns about the case. AB 1973 proposes several reforms. Section 1. Mandatory coordination protocols for multi-jurisdictional missing persons cases. When a missing person's last known locations span multiple counties, a lead agency must be designated within 24 hours. All involved agencies must participate in daily coordination briefings. A unified command structure must be established. Section 2. State funding for regional specialized search teams. The bill would create 4 regional teams covering Northern California, Central California, Southern California, and Eastern California. Each team would have advanced sonar equipment, trained dive personnel, aircraft with thermal imaging, and K-9 units. These teams would be deployable to any jurisdiction upon request. Section 3. Elimination of voluntary disappearance assumptions for missing persons with minor outstanding warrants. Unless evidence clearly suggests the person is actively fleeing prosecution, they must be treated as potentially endangered. Outstanding warrants for nonviolent offenses cannot be used to deprioritize searches. Section 4. Mandatory family liaison officers for all missing persons cases lasting more than 72 hours. The liaison must maintain regular contact with the family, provide updates, and ensure the family feels heard and informed. Section 5. Creation of a statewide missing persons database with real-time updates accessible to all law enforcement agencies. This would eliminate information silos and ensure all agencies have access to the same data. The bill is ambitious. The fiscal analysis estimates implementation would cost approximately $20 million annually. That includes equipment, personnel, training, and database infrastructure. $20 million is substantial, but California's annual budget exceeds $300 billion. So it's a small percentage. The question is political will. Assemblymember Chun holds a hearing. Richard Owen is invited to testify. He brings photos of Whisper and Sandra. He describes the 33-day wait. He details the jurisdictional confusion, the initial dismissiveness, the technological gaps. His testimony is powerful. He speaks for 90 minutes, answering questions from legislators. Several cry. The hearing is live-streamed. Clips go viral. Other families testify too. Parents whose children went missing and were found months or years later. Siblings who searched for missing brothers or sisters. The common theme: the system is broken. Law enforcement representatives testify as well. Sheriffs from rural counties explain budget constraints. They don't have unlimited resources. They do their best. But specialized equipment is expensive. Regional search teams would help, but who pays for them? The debate is respectful but intense. Everyone agrees the current system has gaps. The question is how to fill them and who pays. As of early 2026, AB 1973 is working through committees. It's been amended several times, compromises being negotiated. The fiscal cost has been reduced to approximately $12 million annually by scaling back some provisions. Will it pass? Uncertain. But the conversation has started. That's something. December 2025. The holidays arrive. The first Christmas without Whisper. The first Christmas without Sandra. The three surviving children attempt to celebrate, but grief shadows everything. Robert McCarty does his best. He buys presents, decorates the house, cooks Christmas dinner, but the absences are overwhelming. 2 empty chairs at the table, 2 stockings not hung, 2 fewer presents under the tree. The 17-year-old is old enough to understand completely. This is the new normal. Mom isn't coming back. Sandra isn't coming back. Future holidays will always have this hole. The 8-year-old struggles. They keep asking when Mom is coming home, despite being told multiple times that she's not. Denial is a stage of grief, especially for children. The 3-year-old has the most resilience, paradoxically. They don't fully remember the before. This is just how things are now. Sad, but adaptable. On Christmas morning, Robert takes the kids to visit the burial plot. They bring flowers, a wreath, ornaments to hang on a nearby tree. They spend an hour there, talking to Whisper and Sandra, sharing what Christmas is like, expressing how much they miss them. It's heartbreaking, but it's also healing. Grief needs expression, especially for children. January 2026. 6 months after the tragedy. Richard Owen gives an interview to a national podcast focusing on criminal justice reform and victim advocacy. The host asks, "What have you learned from this experience?" Richard pauses. "I've learned that the system is broken. Not completely. There are good people trying to do good work. But the structure, the bureaucracy, the funding, the priorities, they're all messed up. I've learned that volunteers are heroes. Adventures with Purpose, Angels Recovery Dive Team, the community members who searched for weeks, they stepped up when the system failed. We need more people like them. I've learned that my sister was braver than I knew. She was trying to save Sandra. She was reaching for her. Even in the worst moment of her life, her instinct was to protect her child. That's who Whisper was. That's her legacy. And I've learned that I can't bring them back. No amount of anger or advocacy or legislative change will bring them back. But maybe, I can help prevent this from happening to another family. If AB 1973 passes, it'll be because of Whisper and Sandra. Their deaths will have meaning beyond just loss. That's not enough. It'll never be enough. But it's something." The interview ends with Richard making a direct appeal. If you're listening and you have influence, if you're a legislator or a community leader or someone with resources, please support missing persons reform. Please fund better equipment and training for law enforcement. Please prioritize coordination and family communication. This is fixable. We can do better. We must do better. The podcast episode is downloaded hundreds of thousands of times. It sparks additional conversations. Op-eds are written. Editorials published. The momentum for reform grows. February 2026. Present day. The case is officially closed. Whisper and Sandra's deaths are ruled accidental. No criminal proceedings. No civil lawsuits filed yet, though that possibility remains. But the impact continues. AB 1973 advances through the legislature. Public awareness of missing persons issues has increased. Volunteer search organizations report increased donations and support. And most importantly, Whisper and Sandra are remembered, not just as tragedy, not just as victims, but as human beings who mattered. Whisper Owen was a complicated person. She made mistakes. She had legal troubles. She struggled financially. But she was also a mother who loved her children, a daughter who visited her mom, a sister who checked in with her brother, a person trying to navigate a difficult life. Sandra McCarty was an 8-month-old baby, innocent, full of potential. She never got the chance to grow up, never spoke her first words, never took her first steps, never experienced life beyond her first 8 months. Together, they represent what's at stake when systems fail. Not statistics, not case numbers. Real people with families who love them. The 3 surviving children are growing up without their mother and sister. That's the ultimate cost. Childhoods altered, futures changed, trauma that will echo for decades. But they also have support. Robert is doing his best as a single parent. Vicky Torres remains involved as a grandmother. Richard Owen continues advocating. The community has rallied around them. Healing is possible. Not forgetting. Never forgetting. But healing. Living. Finding joy again. Honoring Whisper and Sandra by living full lives. That's the hope. That's the goal. And if systemic changes emerge from this tragedy, if other families are spared similar suffering, then Whisper and Sandra's deaths won't be meaningless. They'll be a catalyst for change. That's the best possible outcome from the worst possible situation. The Whisper Owen and Sandra McCarty case exposes fundamental failures in how America handles missing adults. Over 33 days, multiple agencies searched 4 counties using traditional methods while a mother and baby lay in a canal just feet from a highway. When volunteers with specialized equipment arrived, they solved the case in 30 minutes. This documentary has examined every aspect: the disappearance, the investigation, the recovery, the aftermath, and the push for reform. We've seen how fear of a traffic stop led to a fatal route choice, how jurisdictional complexity hampered coordination, how technology gaps prevented timely discovery, how warrant stigma influenced investigative priorities. Most importantly, we've seen the human cost. 3 children growing up without their mother and baby sister. A grandmother haunted by her final goodbye. A brother channeling grief into advocacy. A community mourning preventable loss. The lessons are clear. Missing adult cases need better protocols and resources. Jurisdictional boundaries shouldn't impede searches. Technology matters and must be accessible. Outstanding warrants shouldn't stigmatize missing persons. Family communication must be prioritized. Infrastructure has consequences. These aren't abstract policy recommendations. They're concrete changes that could save lives. Will those changes happen? AB 1973 offers hope. But legislative momentum is fragile. Public attention shifts. Budgets tighten. Reform requires sustained pressure. That's where you come in. Share this documentary. Tell Whisper and Sandra's story. Contact your representatives and demand missing persons reform. Support volunteer search organizations. Keep pressure on systems that need improvement. Because right now, somewhere in America, another family is experiencing what the Owens and McCartys experienced. Someone is missing. Law enforcement is searching but struggling. Jurisdictions are confused. Families are desperate. We can do better. We must do better. Whisper Owen fought to save her daughter in the darkest moment imaginable. She didn't give up. She reached for Sandra until her final breath. That's love. That's devotion. That's heroism. Let's honor that heroism by building systems worthy of it. Systems that respond urgently when people disappear. Systems that coordinate effectively across jurisdictions. Systems that deploy adequate technology. Systems that treat all missing persons as equally worthy of rescue. Whisper and Sandra deserved better. Future missing persons deserve better. We have the knowledge and resources to provide it. Now we need the will. On behalf of Cold Case Desk, thank you for watching this deep investigation into a case that exposes systemic failures while honoring 2 lives lost too soon. Please like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts on missing persons reform, and subscribe to never miss our documentary investigations. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on new content. And most importantly, share this story. Share Whisper and Sandra's story. Keep their memory alive. Keep pressure for reform active. Whisper Owen and Sandra McCarty. Gone but never forgotten. May they rest in peace. May their deaths inspire the changes that prevent future tragedies. Thank you for bearing witness to their story.